Hey guys, it is finally time for the review of the BK14, otherwise known as the EsKabar, made by the great company of Ka-Bar out of Olean, New York. And this is a pretty good knife, and this review's been a long time coming. I unboxed it back in like November or something, so I've had it quite a while. I've used it quite a bit. So I think I can give you a pretty good representation of this this design and what it's capable of, and what maybe it shouldn't be used for. Now, just a quick warning off the bat here. This is going to be a long review. I want it to be detailed and very informative, so that no questions are left unanswered. And if you're thinking about purchasing this design and spending your hard-earned money on it, the peaks and valleys of the design. So right off the bat here, let's get into the uses of this knife. I think that it's actually a pretty flexible knife. I think it can go into a lot of different uses. It could definitely be an everyday carry knife if you needed it to be. However, I don't really, I found I don't need a fixed blade strength in my everyday carry. And it's actually kind of non-advantageous to have a fixed blade in everyday carry when you don't need it, because it's a little bit heavier. And it's bigger, and a folding design's more compact because it folds. So it's bigger, more cumbersome, and I just didn't need the strength. Maybe you do. Now, getting into the outdoors, it could be a kind of hiking, backpacking knife, but again, heavier than some folding designs. And I'll compare it to some different folders throughout the review here. So the weight keeps coming up here, so let's weigh it real fast, just to give you an idea of what you're dealing with here. I'll do just the knife at first. So I am in ounces, and I do have these grips on it, so that's going to throw the weight off a little. 3.31 ounces. And I have the sheath here, but it has that metal clip on it, so again, that's going to throw the weight off. That says 2.91 ounces. Let's go to grams for my European viewers. 82.5 grams. 93.9 grams. I think I remember that before I put these grips and that pocket clip on there, total package was right around 5 ounces. And, it's a little more with stuff you add on it. So you're looking, 5 to 6 ounces, somewhere in there, depending on how you have this thing configured. So it's a little heavier. Compare that to other options, kind of like this outstanding design by Spyderco, the Endura 4FFG. This is quite a bit lighter. I think it's somewhere around 3.2 or something. So, close to half the weight on this design. So you got to take that into consideration. Could this be a defensive knife? They sell it as a neck knife, to be worn around the neck on a chain or a paracord or something. Could it be a neck knife? Yes, it could. However, I really don't think it's the best option. And personally, I'm not really a fan of neck knives anyway. I think they're kind of slow to get to, and not really all that practical. I like other designs better, other methods of carry. I think that this sheath that I'll talk about later more extensively is kind of big and kind of chunky for a neck knife. And I don't know. The other thing is that talking about ergonomics on here, there's no jimping on there, none at all. So it's slick topside, and without any type of grips or paracord wrap or anything on there. It's really not, you don't have that great of a grasp on this knife. So I think that if you just pulled it out of the box and tried to defend yourself with it, it's going to be kind of hard to hold on to. It's going to be kind of slick. So not the best defensive blade, really, in my opinion. You'll have to do something like this by adding grips to it or something like that to really make it able to hold on to it. A paracord wrap would help as well. But I'm just saying, compared to, again, something like that, you have aggressive texturing on the sides, really awesome jimping on the top. I have a much better grip on this design. But, I do have to flip it out. This, I can just pull it. So, there's advantages and disadvantages for it being a defensive knife. So getting into the blade on this knife, it is made out of 1095 high carbon steel. 1095 is, very proven steel, been used in a lot of different designs. 3 millimeters thick. I do like that thickness for the strength. However, it comes in a little bit of a disadvantage when you're talking about slicing capabilities. And as you saw in the carrot cutting test video I did, chopping up a bunch of carrots, this does tend to wedge in a lot more than some other designs with thinner blades. So you're getting strength, but you're maybe trading off some cutting performance. Now the edge that comes on this out of the box pretty much sucks. Just to be blunt there. It's not that great. I did get this particular knife reprofiled. And 20-degree angle on both sides, so 40 total. Back that relief edge up, and it's razor sharp now. Much, much better. So, the out-of-the-box edge is really not all that impressive. It's a very shallow grind, and I really don't like it at all. So, pretty unimpressive out of the box. Now, as competition, this knife, the Izula by ESEE, and this is a partnership between, obviously, the Becker Necker and the Izula. This has the Izula handle with the Becker Necker blade, which is really kind of the best of both worlds in my opinion. But you look at this design, this comes with a very nice edge out of the box. Much better profiled edge out of the box on here. And if you look just buying the knives, not buying, like the kit with the Izula or, belt or, clips or anything, just the knives, knife in the sheath. I think the Izula is going for around $50 and these are going for around $30 to $35. So you're paying, $15 to $20 more for the Izula design. Is it worth it? Well, if you add, $10, $15, $20 to get this reprofiled, maybe. Just something to think about there. So, but the steel on here is very nice. 1095. It is a high carbon steel. You got to keep it oiled. You see I have some oil on the blade there. You really don't need any oil on this coating. I just, got a little on there. But it is coated. Now this coating is, I don't think it's painted on, but it's nowhere near the quality of finish that you're getting on the Izula. On the Izula, you get that kind of crinkle coat. Same type of stuff that's on my SA6, and this stuff wears really, really well. I'm very impressed with that. So, definitely a higher quality finish on the Izula compared to the EsKabar. And so, over time you will have this wear, and that's just how it is. Now, so, that's what it is. Just, I think it's like a 3 1/4 inch blade. I do like that size much better than the Izula. I think the Izula is just a tad too small. So, see the size difference there. This is much more usable, in my opinion. So much better on this. Now, you will see here, one kind of comparison between these two, is you see here the BKT stamped there, and then the ESEE symbol stamped there. So they're stamped into the metal here. On this design, they're all laser etched in. Now, I prefer the laser etching a lot more because with the stamping process, you can occasionally create stress fractures in there. So in super heavy duty use, probably more heavy duty than either of these knives would ever realistically be put into, but, just pretending you're gonna, use them both so hard until one of them snaps off, this one's probably gonna break where they stamped it on both sides. So that's kind of a, a break spot or a fatigue spot on this design. This one, I think it'd be harder to tell. It's not just gonna break off there super easy because it's not stamped there super. So just a difference to think about there if you're planning on really using this knife really hard. So the handles on here and the overall ergonomics, as I said before, as a defensive blade I don't like it because there's a lack of jimping and other things. And obviously you could Dremel in your own jimping, but or do like skateboard tape like Nothing Fancy likes. But I don't know, that could work. I just didn't try that. But it is just that skeletonized handle like you see on the Izula, basically same handle. I don't think they're the exact same size, meaning I don't think you could put grips made for this on here. I haven't tried, I don't have any, I don't know. I made these grips myself, and as you can tell, they're kind of stinky, kind of bush league or whatever you want to call it. Not so impressed with them. This is basically what you'd call, I guess, custom micarta. Basically, I just layered fabric with resin, compressed it under clamps. You can look it up for yourself. And then I attached it on there with 2 screws. It doesn't look the greatest, but it does provide some thickness to that handle and some grip. And that's what this design really needs. Before this, I had a paracord wrap on there, and I really liked it. It worked really well. So, you know, paracord wraps will work completely fine as well. This is just what I have on there right now. You know, just out of the box, is this grip okay? Yeah, it's okay, but not the greatest. One difference there, again, is jimping on the Izula. Not the best jimping in the world, but it helps. It's better than nothing like on here. So while this is probably, you know, 15-20 bucks more in cost and a little bit smaller knife, you know, the better coating, the better grind out of the box, jimping on the top, you know, and the lack of stamping, you know, just laser etching it in there, are all quality differences that will, you know, make this knife just, you know, kind of a notch above this knife. You know, that's just how it is. Same steel, but this is definitely, you know, a little bit more attention to quality and detail. But this is not a bad knife at all. So, yeah. Now, the sheath that comes with this one is actually, I like the sheath better in some ways than the sheath that comes with the Izula. The Izula sheath is a little bit lighter weight material and is also smaller. I do like that it's smaller. As you can see there, quite a bit smaller. So if you're going to use it as a neck knife, I probably would prefer the Izula if you're going to wear it around your neck. However, as a belt knife, putting, you know, either inside or outside the waistband carry, this is not bad. It's squared off, which is nice. If you're going to attach it to a backpack or something, it's nice. And the other thing is if you hear here, this is a harder material. It feels more durable. Definitely. This is kind of a soft material. And I'm really not the biggest fan of it. It scratches easily. It is lightweight, but it just doesn't feel quite as durable as this. This feels heavier duty. Now, I also like that there's more eyelets and everything else on here. Easier to attach it to stuff. But, you know, kind of big and cumbersome on the neck. Now, I got 2 attachment methods for this. Obviously, it comes with, you know, around the neck. I wore it around the neck for like 1 day, and I could already tell I don't like it. So, there's this clip that I bought with it. It does not come with it. It's like 15 bucks, which is a little steep, I guess, but, you know, you probably only will buy one. I just bought them all because, you know, I wanted to test them all. And so there's that clip. A little space in there. I don't like that, but it works. I'll show you how I wear that. I also bought the straps for the TDI knives, and these work very well. I use this clip for inside the waistband carry, and the straps for outside the waistband carry. And I'll show you that on my person in here right now. Okay guys, this is how I would carry it on inside the waistband carry. I'll show you that real fast. So I got my jeans here, multi-tool. I just slide this sheath inside, and there's this back, kind of right on your side, belt loop here. I slide this right behind it. Little tricky, but so you get that clip there. Just slide it in right like that. So you see the clip under the belt. Inside the waistband, this, you know, the handle's right up against my side. It feels a little weird at first if you're not used to carrying it. However, I have found that it hasn't jabbed me or anything like that in walking around. And then you just put your shirt down and conceals very nicely. And one other thing is you can actually just slide your multi-tool pouch right up over it like that if you want to. So conceals in there nicely. Feels a little weird at first, but it hasn't jabbed me yet. And I haven't found, you know, it migrating around or anything like that. It stays anchored pretty well, so it hasn't moved on me at all. So that's how I'd carry it, you know, inside the waistband. And if I was going to carry this as an everyday carry knife, this is how I would carry it. And you can draw it and resheath it pretty easily. Now let's take this out. Now if I was going to carry it with the TDI straps, with these straps. Obviously this clip goes on this side, the straps would attach to the other side. And what I really like about these straps for outside the waistband carry is that they do have Velcro on them for MOLLE attachment, so that when you really lock this down, as you can see, when you lock it down, that Velcro attaches wherever your belt's not in there, if that makes sense. So these things really do lock down very, very nicely. So I would put these, I'd put these on the knife, and so these would be on my body like that. And I'd put one of the straps on each side of this belt loop so that it can't, migrate side to side. And it'd just go on there kind of like that. So it'd fit on there like that, and then you could either, bring your shirt back over it or tuck your shirt in. And it'd ride on there like that. So that's how I'd carry, hiking or for woods use or whatever else. You could also use these straps to attach it to like a backpack or something like that. Or obviously you could just wear it right around your neck. So that's how I would carry this knife. Okay, one last thing I'd like to mention about the Sheath is that it does rattle a little. There's not too much rattle now. It's actually pretty good. But when I got it, there was some rattle in it. It wasn't going to come out at all. It retains very nicely in there. I mean, you could shake this upside down, and it's not going to come out. I mean, you could ride this upside down on a vest or something. But there was just a little side-to-side rattle this way. And so what I did is I just put some foam. I stuffed some foam down in the bottom here. And, then the knife point kind of sticks into it when it goes in there. And it has helped. It's minimized it. There is a drain hole down there. Stuffing foam down there probably plugs up your drain hole. So it's probably not going to drain well now anymore. But, that's just what I did. So, overall, I think that it's a good design and definitely a good option. And I would easily prefer this over the normal Becker Necker knife. However, is it better than the Izula? I don't know. I like the size better, but the Izula, has maybe some cooler accessories. I don't know. A lot of it's personal preference. So, there it is, guys. A good option for your consideration. I'll bring in a few knives here for size comparison. That I think, I think if I was going to go hiking today, or for everyday carry, either one, I'd probably prefer most of these options over it, just because of, weight and size. The Endura, yeah, it's a little bit more money, but, maybe by the time you add on reprofiling, or, adding, or buying a clip, or, the TDI straps, it'd probably be in a similar price range as this knife. I think this is a much better option. It's a folder, but, it's a backlock. So it's decently strong, and I think that's a little bit better option, about half the weight. Kershaw Skyline, that's a great knife, very lightweight. Yeah, it is a liner lock, but it's decently strong for most realistic uses. And if you're doing food prep or anything like that, I think this would completely dominate this one. Another good option, maybe a little bit heavier duty one. And a cheaper option, Rat 1 by Ontario. Another great knife. And obviously, the old standby Bird Caracara. This is the first gen. Second generation's out and second generation definitely looks great too. So those are all some things that I think would maybe be a little bit better option than this one for everyday carry or for hiking. However, if you need a really heavy duty knife and you want a smaller little fixed blade, this is a good option. It's not a bad knife by any means. So, there it is, guys. Hope that was helpful and informative to you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to weigh in the comments. And have a great day, everybody.